Hey, thanks for checking out my video on the Carolina Panthers off-season needs heading into the 2026 season. You're watching the YouTube channel Football Then and Now. If you like this content, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with 1,000 of your closest friends. Let's look at the salary cap for the Carolina Panthers. I went to two different websites, and Spot Track was one of them, I believe, and another cap side. I should have written that down. Sorry. Uh, One says they're going to be $9 million under the cap after paying rookies. Another says 13. But that salary cap number is very fluid in the NFL. Uh, it can be manipulated by releasing players. They're called cap hits. Released to save money on the cap. And you can restructure contracts and extend that cap money over several seasons. And that's always a possibility. The Panthers free agents, there's a bunch of them. I'm going to cover what I feel are the more important free agents on the Carolina Panthers this year. The offensive line is the big problem. Ike Kwanu suffered a pretty serious injury toward the end of the season, and it's unknown when he will be back and how effective he'll be early in his recovery. And the Panthers offensive line has Austin Corbett, Josh Nyman, Cade Mays, and Brady Christensen are all free agents heading into the 2026 NFL season. I don't think the Panthers can keep all of them. I was impressed overall with the Panthers' offensive line play despite injuries this last season. I really think Brady Christensen will be gone for a full-time starting job somewhere in the equivalent money. He is I think, a very solid lineman who can play multiple positions, which is what every team craves for their offensive line. Corbett might be gone. They may decide to move on from him. Josh Nyman had a pretty good season, I thought. I just don't think they can keep all of those offensive linemen. And they may even go out and try to sign a offensive tackle in free agency from another team. The problem is usually offensive tackles in free agency are extremely expensive or they're not very good. Because if you get a quality offensive tackle, you tend to keep them, especially a left tackle. Uh, on the skill positions on offense, you've got Rico Dowdle and David Moore as free agents. David Moore is a coach's favorite, but injury curtailed his season this year, and I have no opinion one way or the other on David Moore. If they can keep him or not, I don't care. He's not going to count a whole lot against the cap if they re-sign him, and he can be effective when he's not injured. Rico Dowdle is very interesting. Uh, Hometown boy from Asheville, North Carolina, playing for the Panthers, ran for 1,076 yards and 6 touchdowns. Had a couple of amazing games in the middle of the season in relief of Chuba Hubbard when he was injured. And then Dowdle seemed to burn out. I don't know if he was injured or wore down. I think he is the ultimate two-back system guy. I don't think he can be a bell cow running back for a whole season. He kept getting cramps late in games when he was doing most of the carries. But I believe he may have priced himself out of the Panthers' plans with that stretch he had in the middle of the season. I love the running back position. Some of my favorite players in the 80s and 90s were running backs, but it has been devalued. And I think you can find a young back who can do well for less money than Rico Dowdle, especially if the Panthers' offensive line is still formidable. And on defense, the free agents that the Panthers have to address are Christian Roseboom, who led the team on 122 tackles. DJ Wanham, he had 42 tackles and 3 sacks. Isaiah Simmons, the safety, they say is a free agent. Nick Scott, who had 111 tackles at safety, is a free agent. Also, one more offensive player, Jalen Coker, is a free agent, but he is an exclusive rights free agent, meaning the Panthers can. He's not going anywhere unless the Panthers don't want him to. Unless the Panthers want him to, excuse me. He can be, his offers can be matched. And I think Coker will get a good contract. He's earned it. He is probably their second best wide receiver after T-Mac. Xavier Legette is a huge disappointment. I wouldn't be surprised if Legette is released during the offseason. And Coker is very, very solid. Now, the potential cap cuts for improving their cap space. Andy Dalton, backup quarterback. He's getting older. Didn't play especially well when he did play this year. $4 million against the cap if they release him. I think they can go a little bit younger. I like Malik Willis, the free agent quarterback. I also like Gardner Minshew. Panthers, I believe, could sign either one of them for less than that $4 million. Maybe not Willis, but I think probably they could. And Andy Dalton, I think, may have outlived his time with the Carolina Panthers. Patrick Jones, too. If they release him, they'll save $6.5 million on the cap. I believe that's probably going to happen. Now, one of my favorite players, Ashawn Robinson, if they release him, they'll save $8.5 million against the cap. I would like to see them either keep him or restructure him. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And tight end Tommy Tremble, a fan favorite, fairly effective but not spectacular tight end. If they release him before March, they will save $5.8 million against the salary cap. And I think that's pretty important right now because the Panthers need some cap space. I think the Carolina Panthers should go all in this offseason. Bryce Young is still affordable. They signed will sign his fifth-year free agents or fifth-year option. So this season, Bryce Young's going to only count $12 million against the cap. In 2027, if things stay as they are, he will be around $27 million against the cap. And if they re-sign him to a long-term deal before that, then he will be probably much more. The reason teams like to go all in with quarterbacks on a rookie contract is because they can afford them. They can afford to stack the roster and make a run. And the Panthers are almost to that point where I think they could. If they can get that offensive line stabilized and get those guys re-signed or replaced with comparable players, I think the Panthers can be a playoff contender next year as well. Maybe go deep into the playoffs. NFC South is in flux. I think Tampa Bay is taking a step back. I think Atlanta and New Orleans, especially New Orleans, will be better. It'd be interesting to see what the Falcons do with their new coach. But I think the Panthers need to go all in and try to make a run. And to do that, I think they should sign for agent Alec Pierce from the Colts. He is a burner. Alec Pierce caught 47 passes and had a 21.3 yards per catch average. That is very rare in today's dink and dunk NFL. And he did catch 6 touchdown passes for the Colts. I think the Carolina Panthers need one more quality wide receiver to go with T-Mac and Coker. And Pierce is a burner. He can take the top off the defense. And he's got good hands. I wouldn't mind seeing the Panthers make a run at Kyle Pitts, tight end from the Falcons. He's going to be a free agent. He has been hot and cold, but he hasn't had the best quarterback situation in Atlanta either. And if Bryce Young had a legitimate top receiving threat tight end, his game would be much improved. He is he's been so inconsistent as a quarterback, but a receiving tight end, a upper echelon one, would greatly improve his game. I think the Panthers will have to address pass rusher, either in free agency or in the draft, or both. They still need. Well, you can't get enough pass rushers. They need at least one more pass rusher. They need linebacker depth or maybe starters, depending on what happens with Roseboom and Wanham. But the Panthers' defense was greatly improved from historically bad to above average, I think, especially with the turnovers. So if they get another pass rusher, get some linebacker help, which will usually help special teams as well, I think that defense can be top 10. Like the secondary, probably could use more depth, cheaper depth. But I was much impressed with the defense, especially compared to what it was the previous season. I think the Carolina Panthers offseason need in the draft or pass rusher or wide receiver or both, and offensive and defensive line help. I'm old school. I think the games are won from the lines, offensive and defensive lines. Not a huge fan of a 3-4 defense, but it is what it is. You still need people on the line, quality players. Their best player is a defensive lineman, Mr. Brown. So the Panthers defense was better. Panthers offense was inconsistent because Bryce Young is inconsistent. I believe the Carolina Panthers offense was also inconsistent because of Dave Canales. I think Canales is overextended being a offensive play caller and the head coach. There were situations where he was so caught up in what the next play would be, he neglected his head coaching duties on, like, say, throwing the flag to have a play reviewed or clock management, things like that. I believe he's distracted. I don't believe he's a upper echelon play caller anyway, at least not when he's a head coach. He only called plays 1 year in Tampa Bay before he became the Panthers head coach. But I think Canales is doing a decent job, but I believe he got distracted easy last year. And I think they need to bring in a veteran play calling offensive coordinator or let their current offensive coordinator call plays. I just don't think Canales is working out of the play caller. He tends to abandon the run too early, in my opinion, and have Bryce slinging all over the yard, and that's just not Bryce in most games, unless he's playing the Falcons. Bryce Young owns the Atlanta Falcons. If they could play Atlanta every game, Panthers would be top seed in the playoffs. Too bad he don't own the Saints. But I really like the progress the Panthers made, and though wasn't the greatest season for a playoff team. The NFC South was down, but I'll take it. They did almost beat the Rams in the playoff game they got into after beating the Rams in the regular season. The Panthers seem to play up to their competition or play down to it. They need to be more consistent in beating bad teams and playing the good teams strongly, like they did in most games. But I'm now less embarrassed by the Saints' losses because I think the Saints are really improving. And these are what I think the Carolina Panthers offseason needs are. They will change possibly if there's any injuries and that have been revealed. Sometimes players have surgery weeks after the season you didn't even know they were hurt. I just don't know what's going to go on with the offensive line. That's my biggest concern because they put some money into that line and put some work into it, and it paid off. Hopefully Robert Hunt will be healthy all next year. That would be very helpful. the very high paid and very good offensive guard. So I'm looking forward to the Carolina Panthers off season. I will be doing a more detailed free agency look at what they need, and also mock draft. This is a widespread football channel. I'll talk about any team, but I am a Carolina Panthers fan. I will be doing mock drafts for other teams and off-season needs videos for other teams. Thank you for watching this. Have